Well, you're listening to the BNI Effect, the podcast for Brisbane entrepreneurs who believe in givers gain. I'm Tony Meredith, and ordinarily I'm a business coach who specialises in sales and leadership. But today I'm your host. And in this episode, I chat with another BNI member to explore their biggest wins, biggest lessons, and how you can get the most out of your BNI membership. This is episode number 85, and today's guest is Nathan Bill from Solar Air Energy. Welcome, Nathan.
Hey mate, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for being here. Let's kick it off with a BNI story. What's the best referral you've either given or received through BNI?
I've received a few over the years, mate, but I think the best one that to give, I'll tell one to give. I was doing, I don't know, the listeners probably all over Australia, but in Brisbane, there's a place called Eat Street where you can go and you get food, and yeah, lots of people know it. Oh, we were down there doing electrical work, and a random person was down there, and I just started a conversation, and they asked if I knew anyone that was good at landscaping, and I said, "Oh, it's funny that you ask. I do actually know someone that does landscaping." So I gave the landscaper out of our chapter the details over to this person, this random person that just started from a conversation, and they never reached out. So I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." I didn't really worry about it. And then I think it was 18 months, 18 months, nearly, it was nearly 2 years. So nearly 2 years later, they ended up reaching out to Ian, the landscaper in the chapter, and it actually eventuated with a $200,000 government contract. And then when he obviously got it, he said to the lady, he's like, "Hey, how did you get my details?" And she said, "Oh, there was a young electrician down at Each Street who gave me your details when I asked him if he knew anyone that was good at landscape." And yeah, it turned into a 200K contract for the government that he ended up thanking me for conversation. But that's probably the best one I've got that I could say that I gave someone.
Well, mate, that is outstanding. That's a wonderful, wonderful referral in so many ways. The fact that it took so long from when you went to Eat Street and you first had that conversation, just a random guy sitting there waiting to get a bite to eat, and through to then, when the business was won and the value of the business as well. So well done, Nathan. That's a wonderful example. Mate, when did you first discover BNI?
Thanks, mate. I think I've been a BNI member now for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years ago we were doing a bathroom renovation I think it was Seven Hills, over near Morningside in Brisbane, Seven Hills, Morningside area. Um, and we'd actually got the job through a chippy that I knew, and he was getting given heaps of work from the customer that we were working for. She was ringing him flat out, like just giving him jobs. And I ended up saying to her, "What's the go here? Like, how come you just giving all this work to," his name was Clinton. "How come you just giving all this work to Clinton?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, we got this meeting that you can come to." And at first, I'll be honest with you, I thought I was getting hit on. Tradies on site, sparkies, we're used to it, mate. We're
Ah, too
used to
funny.
it. My business partner, he cops it all the time, mate. He's constantly getting women calling him, wanting him to go out and service their air cons and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I originally thought, "Oh yeah, she's hitting on me here." And then she said, "Oh, come for a coffee and meet this group of friends." And I started to think, yeah, this is getting a bit weird now. I didn't know what I was walking into. So anyway, long story short, I ended up going, and that was my first BNI meeting. And I just, yeah, I pretty much said, I was like, "Oh, so what's the go?" Like, you just come in and get to know people, and then once you get to know people, they'll just give you work. And they were like, "Yeah, pretty much that's the gist of it. That's the easiest way to look at it." I was like, "All right, sweet." So yeah, 4 years ago, I went and had my first meeting, and here we are.
Fantastic. And so after that first meeting, mate, were you sold? Were you? That was it. You're in.
Yeah, first meeting. Yeah, I stood up I didn't stand up. Sorry, everyone else stood up. I was just obviously a visitor. And yeah, they were all going around thanking everyone for close of business. And yeah, I couldn't believe that there was no catch. It's literally just you pay your initial fee, and then you just have to go and get to know like whoever's in your chapter. Obviously, yeah, you want to build relationships out. And I couldn't believe that something so simple could be so profitable if you did it properly. So yeah, we're 4 years deep now.
Good on you. And so, how long into your journey did you really recognise that BNI was going to be worth it for you, mate? I appreciate you had a great experience in the first visit, but then how far into the journey did you go? You know what? This is really all that it's cracked up to be.
At the start, see, we obviously grew at the start of the business, and I used BNI to help grow the business. But then, if I'm 100% honest, this is a good little story that I'll tell you and all the listeners. we got to the point where we'd scaled the business and we'd grown out, but we sort of grew out to a level of being extremely busy. And I know that there's a lot of business owners out there right now probably listening to this going, yeah, I know that feeling. And yeah, to be honest, BNI took a back seat. I still went. Don't get me wrong. I still, I was doing all the stuff that you're supposed to do, the one-to-ones and the referrals and the meetings and all that. But I just didn't have time. I genuinely did not have time to put the effort into BNI because we were so busy and we just obviously had grown so rapidly. And I was just on jobs all day, every day. And it wasn't until I actually went for a chat with Lisa Gill, who's one of the franchise owners, the zone areas owners in Brisbane. And I sort of said to her, I feel like I'm sort of, wasting my time, wasting BNI's time. It's not really working for me, sort of thing. And yeah, she sort of said, "Oh, all right, sweet." She was sweet, man. She took it on the chin, and she was like, "Oh, it was real annoying because she just put it back onto me, which I hate people doing that." She said, "Oh, listen, that's fair enough if that's how you're thinking of it. But can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Yeah, sweet, you can ask me a question." And she's like, "Oh, are you giving it 110%?" And that's when I actually did think about it, and I was like, yeah, if I'm honest, nah, I'm not. Like, I'm not focusing on BNI at all. I was literally just rocking up to the meetings, finishing my coffee, standing up. As soon as it was finished, I was straight out the door. I wasn't really trying to do like, many one-to-ones. I wasn't really trying to get to know anyone, you know, on a deeper level. And then when I said to her, you know what, I won't pull the pin. I will go all in on this for, 2 to 3 months. But if it doesn't work, I said, just so you know, I'm pulling the pin. And she was like, yes, sweet. She sort of had a bit of a giggle. And I said, all right, sweet. So we sort of shook on it. And so I did, man. I went balls to the wall, flat up, just BNI. Yeah, I'm an ambassador of a chapter now. So I had two chapters that I was like, one I was helping grow, the other one I was, my chapter that I'm in. And I was doing, 4, 5 one-to-ones. I don't even know how many BNIs Lisa has, like her ones that she has personally. But I said to her, send me a list through. I'll visit every single one of them, every single BNI that you own that she runs. I said, I went to Toowoomba at like 3 in the morning. I went and visited, I think I visited like 30 chapters. And man, yeah, the floodgates opened. I was just getting that much work from BNI. So it's funny because it did a complete 180, man. I went from being so busy in the business to not doing anything outside of what I really needed to do with BNI. And now we've got two more of the guys in other chapters in Brisbane. So now I'm in a chapter, Scott's in a chapter on the north side of Brisbane, and then Dylan's also in a chapter on out on the Bayside, so out in Cleveland in Wellington Point.
So that is an example of you get out of things what you put into them, mate. I mean, it sounds like you weren't putting a lot into it. You're just doing the bare minimum, and you weren't getting a lot in return. You decided to go full on, and then all of a sudden, like you said, the floodgates open. So a wonderful example of you truly get out of things what you put into them.
Pretty much, yeah. That's yeah, putting it. That's probably the best way you could put it. Yeah, you do. You literally get out what you put in.
What do you consistently do in BNI that brings results? I mean, let's just sort of play this out a bit further, Nathan. But just again, there's a lot of people who will be listening who perhaps aren't maximizing BNI. You talked about going full on, but specifically, mate, I mean, what do you do that brings results?
Man, we've just sort of had the same philosophy since we started here, and this is not BNI. This is literally like how we've started the business, is how we've grown. And I say to my guys, if you wouldn't do what you're doing at your mum's house or your grandma's house or even your own house, you just don't do it for the customer. So whatever we do for customers is what we would do literally at our own house, and that comes down to the products that we use also. So if there's some shitty brand on the market that we wouldn't use on our own house, we don't even provide that as an option to quote, because if we wouldn't use it on our own house, we're not going to install it on someone else's house. So really that's all we've done. And I do the same thing in BNI. Like, I get to know people, and then, if it's anyone in my chapter, like that I know personally, who I do consider a close friend, man, I just go out and help people out, do free inspections on houses that they're buying, or check the switchboards, check the air cons, check the solar to make sure they're not getting stooped when they're buying a brand new property. Little things like that, man. I feel like we go above and beyond, especially for people in our own chapter. But any customers that we get sent as referrals, we really do look after every single person that comes through the app.
So on the flip side, what are some mistakes that you see other members make that perhaps holds them back, Nathan?
Um, Man, time, I guess time is a big one. You sort of, if you get sent a referral, and I've been guilty of this, man, which is why I sort of know, if you get sent a referral and you don't follow up on that referral, or you get a bit of bad feedback from when because a lot of referrals are already your existing customers. So if I have a customer that rings me that we've already done, say, a solar and a battery system for at their house, and they're like, oh, hey, man, I'm looking for a painter, or I'm looking for a landscaper, or whatever it may be. If I refer someone that I know to a good customer of ours, and then you get feedback, such as, oh yeah, they never got in touch with me, or I spoke to them once, but I've not heard back from them since. That I feel is, and it's not like this is not directly pointed at anyone, but I feel like that's one of the biggest letdowns, as a whole in BNI, that people don't seem to really grasp. It's that, like, you only really do get that one shot, you get one go at it, and if you burn that bridge and you let someone down with one of their close customers or one of their good customers, you don't really get that shot again. So that's one thing that, if you do that to a few members in your chapter, and then word gets out that that's what you do, you sort of just burn your own bridge, and then BNI sort of becomes, I guess it's a stalemate. It's like you can still keep going, but then people aren't really going to trust you to send referrals your way.
Well, I think the key word there, mate, is trust, isn't it? I mean, you're happy to open up your network to people if you trust them, but if that trust is broken, then why would you open up your network? Just to go and upset your network. You've worked really hard to build that network. You certainly wouldn't be, letting them in see, people who you just can't trust. So it's a good example of, what members do wrong and how they can start to get it right. Let's have a bit of a deep dive into what is going on with you at Solar Air Energy. So, what's a brief overview of you, your business, and the main services that you provide, Nathan?
Oh, it's a funny one, man. It's in the name, solar air energy. So solar air conditioning and electrical. Obviously we're all electricians in-house, so you have to be an electrician to do solar. We don't primarily just focus on solar. We do everything. So we're sort of like a one-stop shop. We do everything, man. We do solar, batteries, air conditioning, EV chargers, new homes, renovations. We work with a few builders in other chapters, that we got along with them. We built good relationships with them, so we do work with them. But we do a fair bit of solar and batteries. The rebate that's out at the minute is obviously very good, so we're really focusing on that coming into Christmas 20 this year. So in the new year, but I suppose it'll still be boiling hot in January. So I'd say the air cons will also pick back up again. And then coming into winter, we normally get a bit quieter just because it's colder and there's not as much sun around. But yeah, that's pretty much us in a nutshell, man. We do everything.
And what about from a geographic point of view? Which areas do you cover, Nathan?
Everywhere, brother. So I say to people all the time, man, if people want to pay us and we get chosen, we're there, man. We're there. So we've done massive commercial solar jobs up in Cairns. We've gone down to northern New South Wales. Obviously, our home is Brisbane. We're regularly going, sunny coast, Gold Coast. We've been to northern New South Wales a couple of weeks ago. But in saying that, yeah, anywhere, man, anywhere. We'll go anywhere. I was literally just talking to my business partner Brody earlier today. We're looking at booking a trip up to Townsville. We've got a few big jobs up in Townsville and Ingham. So we're probably going to be going up there potentially before Christmas for a week just to knock out a heap of jobs and then come back.
Yeah, wow. And so it sounds like you're doing commercial as well as the residential.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we do commercial electrical as well. Like, it's not like anything that we haven't done before, but we do commercial solar. A lot of homeowners and business owners are starting to realize, with the price of power and the way that it's going, it is definitely beneficial to install a solar system, especially with a business. If you're utilizing the power during the day, you're cutting your bills, down. You can cut bills in half, man. So from a business perspective, when you're looking at that sort of stuff, if you're going to save money, regardless, even if it's not your property, if it's not your property, but you speak to the landlord and they say, yeah, you can put a solar system on it, you're going to cut your bills in half regardless. So it definitely makes sense if you've got a lease on the building for 5 to 10 years.
What makes your business different?
The staff, man, the staff. I know probably everyone says that, corny stuff, but yeah, the staff, all the guys here, everyone, like everyone, all the guys, the boys, the girls in the office, everyone is just like genuinely happy, wants to be here. So I feel like the staff is what make it different, man. We've obviously gone, above and beyond, but at the end of the day, I'm only one person, man. It's teams of people that make a difference in the world. So if you removed every single person from, this office and it was just me, you'd literally just be talking to me and I wouldn't be doing an eighth of what we are doing, like what we do on a daily basis, man. So yeah, it does. It just comes back to the team and the culture and, everyone's attitude, because obviously when people go out and they see the customers and they talk to the customers, they're portraying the company. So if they go out with a bad mindset or, they're negative, also reflects on the company. So yeah, it does. It all comes back to the team, man. That's what makes us different.
Fantastic. How many staff you got, mate?
All up, I think office, videographers, like, on the tools, we've probably got like 16, 17, I think, all up.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
Who's an ideal referral for you right now?
Oh, everyone in BNI says all the time, oh, you got to make it specific. You got to make it specific. But to be honest, it's anyone that's struggling to pay bills, man. If you're struggling to pay like power bills, I mean, and that's because that's the chair that I hold in my chapter. I hold the solar and battery chair. So I'll sort of stick in that lane. Anyone that's getting power bills and they are struggling to make these payments for just to keep your lights turned on, literally, that's an ideal referral, because we have like finance options that we can literally say you can put a solar and a battery system on your house to, if it's sized correctly, to get your bills down to zero. And then you can put that on a payment plan. So if you can put that on a payment plan, instead of paying for your power, once a month or every quarter, you can pay for it weekly or fortnightly on a finance payment plan with a solar system and a battery on your house, so that you effectively get your bills down to zero, but you just make it a weekly repayment that you're not having to pay at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, clever. Um, let's play a word association game. So I'm going to say a series of words, and I'm looking for a quick response from you, Nathan. Networking,
BNI,
referrals,
good.
success,
Me,
coffee,
iced latte.
iced latte. Give us game,
BNI again.
sport,
Rugby league.
team.
I'm from Townsville, but I probably have to go to the Brisbane Broncos just because they won. I like winning, so they've just won. So I probably have to say the Broncos, mate. We do
Well, mate,
also have a box. We have a box there as well. We decided that obviously BNI is a good way to network. So we were like, oh, what's another way that we can network? So we ended up getting a box a couple of years ago at the Broncos, and for I think third year now, we take BNI people pretty regularly.
yeah,
Yeah, we always go to the Broncos, man. So it's good to see that this year they brought it home.
fantastic. Plus, it's a Brisbane-based podcast as well. So, right answer, Nathan. Last one is BNI.
BNI, worth every cent, mate. Worth every cent. I know it's supposed to be one word, but there's not one word for BNI,
Uh,
mate.
that
You got
that
to,
that
yeah, people
that'll do. I
open their
reckon the
minds up.
viewers and the listeners get the point. If you could give one piece of wisdom to someone who wants to grow their business through BNI networking, what would it be, Nathan?
Don't be afraid to start a conversation. So yeah, that's one little thing that I'm like a social butterfly. I've always been fairly good at that sort of stuff. My teachers used to hate it because I used to talk at the back of the classroom every day, all day. But I think that, a lot of people do get into BNI and this is just people, man, people in general, there's different personalities, people are introverts, extroverts. But if you're scared to make a conversation, start a conversation with someone, you don't have any idea what you could potentially be missing out on. And if you start that conversation, like I did that day for Ian, I literally just started talking to someone and they asked if I knew a landscaper. That was how the whole thing eventuated. It eventuated into a $200,000 contract, and it was just from a simple conversation. So, bit of advice is don't ever be afraid to start a conversation with anyone.
Amazing. What's one exciting thing that's happening for your business right now that you'd like the listeners to know about, Nathan?
So yeah, one thing that we have just done, it's been ready for a while, but we've just been too busy to sort of release it. We had a lot of guys over the years coming in, like younger guys that are like, trying to start a business, one man bands, and how do I put this? They were having I guess struggles with different areas of business on how to grow or how to hire and fire, or wholesalers or pricing and all that sort of stuff. So we decided that we were going to franchise. So we've franchised in the last 6 months so that it's there in business, man. There has to be a lid on obviously what you pay people, but because otherwise it becomes pointless. If there's no cap on it, the business needs to make money to run. So we wanted a way for the guys to be able to say to them, there's actually no lid on that. So if you want a franchise, we can get the work, we can show you the systems and the processes, we can do all the back end stuff, but you need to go out there. So we've built that out. We haven't really even scratched the surface with it yet, but all the documentation and the paperwork and the contracts, it's all ready to go. And yeah, I don't know how far this is going to go, but yeah, who knows, we might get some phone calls from it. But yeah, we haven't even got anyone in yet. But the reason that we did it was because I personally saw so many people that I knew that were going out there and giving it a crack, which man, I applaud. I applaud that. I think it's good that people go out and give business a crack. But being a tradesman and doing the work and business are two completely different ball games. And if you don't have your head screwed on with business, man, you can end up in a lot of hot water real fast.
What an exciting initiative that is. Look forward to that coming to fruition. Nathan, how can listeners learn more about your business or get in touch with you?
Come for a visit, mate. Come for a visit to BNI Focus in West End Thursday mornings. But if you can't do that, reach out on the app, man. I'm always down for a one-to-one. I don't care where you are in the world, in Australia. I'm keen to have a chat with anyone, man. That's what I'm about. But yeah, if you are in Brisbane or you're here on a stopover from Sydney or whatever, we've had a few people from Sydney come and, come to our chapter and check it out. I'm always keen to meet new people, man. So don't be afraid to reach out and say good day.
Amazing. Thanks, Nathan. Really appreciate it. Hey, look, that wraps up another episode of the BNI Effect. My absolute thanks to Nathan Bill for sharing his insights and showing us what's possible in BNI. If you're a BNI member, perhaps you could take one of the ideas that Nathan shared and put it into practice over the next week. Alternatively, if you're a visitor to BNI, I hope you've seen how powerful this community can be for your business. Subscribe to hear more real stories from Brisbane BNI members. And until next time, give more, trust more, and grow more.